You're not on the list, Sierra. My brother Austin said that to me while standing in the foyer of the 4-bedroom colonial house I had bought for him. He said it with a straight face, adjusting his silk tie, looking at me like I was a solicitor at the door instead of his sister. That one sentence? It ended up costing him $770,000. Cost my father a daughter. And for me it was the final blow, the moment the last flickering ember of hope that my family would ever love me finally went cold. But here's what nobody at that 200-guest black-tie reception knew. The roof over their heads was still legally mine. And I had just signed it away to a total stranger. Before I get into the grit of how it all went down, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe if you've ever been the black sheep who did everything right but still got treated wrong. Drop your city and time in the comments, I'm checking them all. My name is Sierra. I'm 31, and this is the story of how I lost a family but finally found my soul. To understand why I did it, you have to go back 17 years. My mom died on a Tuesday in October. I was 14. She'd been fighting ovarian cancer for 2 years, and by the end she was a shadow, frail, thin, weighing less than I did. But man, she was the strongest person I've ever known. Mom was the great equalizer. In our house, she made sure everything was fair. If Austin got a new mountain bike, I got one too. If he got a tutor for math, I got one for lit. She didn't have favorites. She had children. The funeral was a miserable affair. Charcoal skies and grass so wet your heels sank into the mud. I remember the cloying, heavy scent of lilies mixing with the smell of damp earth. My father, Gerald, stood by the casket with his arm draped around Austin. My brother was 16 then, already a head taller than Dad. Gerald pulled Austin close, his voice booming so everyone could hear. "You're the man of the house now, son. It's on you." I was standing 3 feet away. Nobody said a word to me. Not a hang in there, not a hug. Except for one person, Patricia Callahan. Patty was Mom's best friend from their sorority days. She found me hiding in the back pew after the service. She grabbed my hands, looked me dead in the eye, and whispered, "I promised your mom I'd always have your back. You remember that, okay?" I nodded, though I didn't really get it. I didn't know then that Mom had spent her final weeks making Patty my legal godmother. She knew. She knew exactly what kind of man my father would become once she wasn't there to keep him in check. After the funeral, our home split into 2 different zip codes. Austin's world was paved in gold. On his 16th birthday, he got a Mustang. Sure, it was used, but it was a Mustang. Dad topped off his college fund every month like clockwork. They went on weekend trips to scout Ivy League campuses and hit the links at the country club. My world was the clearance rack. When I asked Dad for money for AP textbooks my sophomore year, he didn't even look up from the ball game on TV. "Ask your brother," he muttered. I already gave him the budget for the month. "The budget?" I asked. It was like there was one bucket of money and Austin got to it with a shovel before I could get a spoon. I started pulling 4:30 a.m. shifts at a local Starbucks the week I turned 16. I bought my own clothes, my own laptop for school, even my own winter coat when the zipper on my old one gave out and nobody noticed I was shivering. The breaking point should have been the scholarship interview. I had a shot at a full ride, the only way I was getting out of that town. The bus didn't run early enough, so I knocked on Austin's door to borrow his car for 2 hours. "I need it." "Take the bus," he said, scrolling through TikTok. "The bus doesn't run at 6 a.m., Austin." "Please." "Not my problem, Sierra." I walked 2.5 miles in the pitch black in the rain to make that interview. I got the scholarship. And years later, when Patty helped me dig through old bank records, I found out the truth. Mom had left me a college fund equal to Austin's. Gerald had drained it. He moved every cent into Austin's account less than a year after the funeral. I graduated high school summa cum laude. National Honor Society. A full ride to the state university. On graduation day, Gerald took Austin to a Knicks game. I walked across that stage alone. Well, almost. When I looked into the sea of families with their class of 2011 balloons, I saw one person, Patty. She was in the third row, clapping so hard she was shaking, holding a single sunflower for me. That night, I packed 2 suitcases. Gerald was in the living room, a beer in his hand. I walked past him toward the door. "You leaving?" he asked, his eyes never leaving the screen. "Yeah." "Lock the door on your way out." "No, I'm proud of you." "No, call me when you get there." "Just lock the door." I moved into a tiny studio above a 24-hour laundromat in a college town. I worked 2 jobs, coffee in the morning, waitressing at night. I slept 4 hours if I was lucky. Patty sat me down once and offered me a check. "Your mom left something with me for you," she said. "No," I told her. "I have to do this myself. If I take a handout now, I'll never know if I'm actually strong or just lucky." She just nodded. "You sound just like her." By 22, I had my real estate license. By 26, I hit 6 figures. By 29, I was one of the top brokers in the city. I had built a life out of nothing but grit and caffeine. Then the phone rang. It was Gerald. I hadn't heard from him in 3 years. No happy birthday, no Merry Christmas. "Sierra, it's your father. Your brother needs a place. He's getting serious with a girl from a good family. He can't be living in some dumpy apartment. You're in real estate, help him out." It wasn't an ask. It was an order. Like I was the family's free contractor. And here is the part I'm not proud of. I said yes. Part of me, that little 14-year-old girl in the back pew, thought maybe this is it. Maybe if I'm the hero, they'll finally love me. Maybe if I give enough, I'll finally be enough. I bought a $770,000 colonial in a pristine suburb. New roof, massive backyard, the works. But I kept the deed in my name. That was the one smart thing I did, and it was Patty's idea. "You're trying to buy love, honey," she warned me. "It's a bad investment. Keep your name on that deed. Promise me." I promised. Austin moved in and didn't even say thank you. He just asked where the spare key was. Then the slow fade started. Thanksgiving? "Oh, Nicole's family is coming over. We're short on chairs, Sierra. Maybe next time." "Christmas? We're at the Ashfords' estate this year. It's just easier." "Dad's 60th? It's just a small thing, don't worry about it." Austin was dating Nicole Ashford. Her family was old money, country clubs, names on hospital wings, the whole 9 yards. Austin was playing the role of the century, the successful, devoted son from a tight-knit family. And I didn't fit the script. I was the gritty sister who worked for everything she had. I was the reminder of the dirt they came from. I saw the truth on Instagram. A photo of Austin, Gerald, Nicole, and her parents in my dining room. My garland on the stairs. My candles on the mantel. The caption, "Christmas at our home. Just us, a small family. It's all we need. Our home. Just us." I screenshotted it. I didn't know why, but my gut, or maybe my mother's voice, told me I'd need it. A few months later, a colleague at my firm, Rachel, pulled me aside. "Hey, Sierra, does your brother live on Maplecrest?" "Yeah, why?" "He came into Jim Bowden's law office last week. He was asking about adverse possession." My heart stopped. Adverse possession is a legal loophole where if you live in a place long enough and the owner doesn't object, you can eventually claim it as your own. My own brother was looking for a way to legally steal the house I bought for him. I didn't react yet. I waited for the final test, the wedding. The invitations went out in March. 200 of them. Gold foil, cream cardstock. Austin Mercer and Nicole Ashford. I found out from my best friend, Karen. "So, what color is your bridesmaid dress?" she asked. "I didn't get an invitation, Karen." The silence on the phone was deafening. I texted Austin. "I saw the invite. Am I coming?" 3 hours later, Sierra, the guest list is tight. Cole's family takes priority. Don't make this about you, I replied. The wedding is at my house, Austin. His response, it's been my house for 2 years. Everyone knows that. I called my dad. Dad, did you know I'm not invited? His wedding, his rules, Sierra. It's my house, Dad. You gave it to him. Same thing. It is not the same thing. He didn't even mute the TV. Sierra, don't start. You always make everything a drama. Just let your brother be happy for once. For once. Like Austin hadn't been handed the world on a silver platter while I was working 18-hour days. What about me? I whispered. You'll be fine, he said. You always are. He hung up. You'll be fine. You always are. Those 6 words were the cruelest thing he ever said. He used my strength as an excuse to never be there for me. 'Cause I could survive his neglect, he felt entitled to keep neglecting me. I didn't cry. I went cold. I looked up every social media post. I saw where Austin had cropped me out of old photos. I saw where he told Nicole's uncle that he was an only child. I saw where he thanked Gerald for giving him the house. I called a lawyer named Russell Tate. List the house, I said. You're sure? This is nuclear, Sierra. Burn it down, Russell. We found a buyer in 3 weeks. A young family. Full price. Cash. Closing date June 14th. The day before the wedding. The house changed hands at 4:17 p.m. on Friday. On Saturday morning, the morning of the wedding, the courier delivered the papers. I drove to the neighborhood that evening. I sat in my car under an old oak tree at the end of the block. The house was glowing. String lights, a quartet playing jazz, valets parking luxury SUVs. Karen called me from inside. She was whispering. Sierra, it's over the top. Austin just gave a toast. He thanked Gerald for giving him this beautiful home. He said Mom was the only one missing tonight. The only one missing. I was 200 yards away. I wasn't missing. I had been evicted from my own family's history. Send it, I told Russell. At 8:47 p.m., while the champagne was flowing, I sent one email to Austin, Gerald, and Nicole. Property at 114 Maplecrest has been sold. Transaction closed yesterday. You have 30 days to vacate. Attached is the deed, the sale agreement, and the legal notice to vacate. Happy marriage. Sierra. I turned the key and drove away. I didn't look back. The next morning, Karen gave me the play-by-play. 9 p.m., Austin checked his phone during a toast. He went ghost white. He pulled Gerald into the hallway. What do you mean sold? Gerald had roared. Cole followed them. She saw the email. She saw my name on the deed for the house she thought her father-in-law had bought them. Who is Sierra Mercer? Cole asked. Austin couldn't even speak. The deed says Sierra Mercer, Nicole's voice rose. You told me this was your father's house. That's when Margaret Ashford, Nicole's mother, a woman who wouldn't be caught dead in a scandal, walked into the foyer. She read the email over Nicole's shoulder. She looked at Austin like he was something she'd found on the bottom of her shoe. She didn't scream. She didn't make a scene. She just grabbed her clutch and walked toward the door. But then she stopped. She turned around and walked back toward the huddle in the foyer, where a dozen guests were now pretending not to watch. My daughter asked you a simple question, Austin, Margaret Ashford said, her voice dropping into that dangerously calm tone mothers use right before a storm hits. Who is Sierra Mercer? Austin looked like he wanted to crawl into the floorboards. He ran a hand through his carefully styled hair, trying to pull off one of those easygoing smiles that had worked for him his entire life. It didn't work this time. Look, it's complicated. She's a distant relative. A cousin twice removed or something. That's when Karen stepped forward. She told me later she hadn't planned on playing the hero, but she'd had 2 glasses of vintage champagne and 17 years of watching my family treat me like a ghost. Something in her just snapped. "She's his sister," Karen said, her voice cutting through the chatter. "His little sister. And she's the one who bought this house." The foyer went silent. Not lull in the conversation silent, but air sucked out of the room silent. You could hear the ice melting in someone's glass. Margaret turned her gaze to my father. "Gerald? You have a daughter?" Gerald straightened his shoulders, that old man of the house habit kicking in. "This is family business, Margaret." "It became my family's business the moment my daughter married into your lies," Margaret shot back. The word lies hit Gerald like a physical slap. He flinched. I wasn't even there, but the way Karen described it, I could see it perfectly. The king of the castle finally losing his crown. Nicole stood between her mother and her new husband. She looked like she was watching her entire life go up in flames in real time. She turned to Austin, her voice trembling. "You told me you were an only child." "Nicole, honey, let me explain. You told me your father bought this place as a wedding gift." "That was a lie, Austin. What else is fake? Is any of this real?" The entire foundation of their marriage, less than 24 hours old, was cracking in front of 200 of the town's most influential people. Austin's face went through what Karen called the 3 stages of a coward. First came denial. He pointed at Karen like she was a crazy person. "Karen doesn't know what she's talking about. She's Sierra's friend. She's biased. She's trying to stir up drama." Karen didn't blink. "I went to high school with both of you, Austin. I was at your mother's funeral. I watched you eat dinner at Sierra's table for years while she paid the bills." Second was deflection. Austin turned to the guests, spreading his hands like a politician. "Sierra's always been like this. She's jealous. She's trying to ruin my big day because she can't stand to see me happy. She's unstable." Margaret's voice cut through his nonsense like a knife. "She didn't come to your wedding to ruin it, Austin. You didn't even invite her. You were too busy pretending she didn't exist." Third was the collapse. Austin looked at Gerald. It was the look of a kid who got caught cheating and expects his dad to buy off the teacher. "Dad? Help me fix this." But for the first time in 63 years, Gerald Mercer had nothing to say. No lecture, no family business line, just silence. Cole stood up, smoothing out her designer lace dress. She didn't scream. She didn't throw her cake. She just said, "I need air." She walked out the front door. Her bridesmaids followed. Then her aunt, then her cousin, then Margaret, who paused at the door to give Gerald one last look. The kind of look that meant the Mercer name was officially dirt in this town. The DJ had cut the music 20 minutes ago. Nobody asked him to turn it back on. Guests started filing out in small, whispering groups, grabbing their coats without saying goodbye. By 11:14 p.m., the driveway was empty. Gerald called me at 7 a.m. Sunday morning. I was sitting at my kitchen table with a hot cup of coffee, watching the sun hit the trees. I let it ring twice before I picked up. "What did you do?" His voice was low, vibrating with a rage he couldn't quite contain. "I sold my house, Dad. You ruined your brother's life. You ruined the wedding." "No," I said, staying calm. "I sold my property. That's my legal right as the owner. You know, the owner you told everyone was you. You need to fix this, Sierra. Call the buyer. Tell them it was a mistake. Undo it. It's done. Papers are filed. It's not my house anymore. And it definitely isn't Austin's. You did this just to hurt him," he spat. I set my coffee down. "No, Dad. I did this because he erased me. You both did. I just reminded you that I'm still here." He went silent. I could hear his heavy, uneven breathing, the sound of a man who realized he had no more moves to make. Then he tried the ultimate guilt trip. Your mother would be ashamed of you. He used her name like a weapon. A dead woman who couldn't defend herself, invoked by the man who broke every promise he ever made to her. My voice didn't shake when I answered. Mom would be ashamed of what you did to her daughter. Don't you ever use her name to cover your tracks again. Don't call me again, Sierra. I wasn't planning on it, Dad. He hung up. That was the last time I ever spoke to Gerald Mercer. Some doors closed with a bang, this one closed with a tiny surgical click. And I was the one who turned the key. Austin called on Monday. He sounded like he'd been hit by a truck, voice raspy, probably from a mix of yelling and crying. You can't do this, Sierra. This is my home. It was never your home, Austin. It was a courtesy. One you abused. I'll sue you. I'll take everything. Go ahead. The deed's been in my name since day one. Call your lawyer. See what he says. Then came the pivot. I knew it was coming. He went from rage to the charm. Sierra, come on, we're family. I know I haven't been perfect, but we can work this out. I'll talk to Nicole. We'll have you over for dinner. We can be a real family again. You told your wife I don't exist, Austin. Hard to have dinner with a ghost. I can explain that. You don't have to. I get it. You have 30 days to get your stuff out. I'd start packing if I were you. Where are we supposed to go? Not my problem anymore. Maybe try a bus. I hear they run early in the city. I hung up. My chest hurt, but my hand was steady. Russell called a few days later to confirm the funds, $770,000, were sitting in my account. Austin did hire a lawyer. Gerald probably paid for the retainer. But Russell told me the guy looked at the paperwork for 10 minutes and told Austin he didn't have a leg to stand on. No lease. No rent receipts. Just a guest who overstayed his welcome. You can't put the truth back in the bottle once 200 people have seen it. Within a week, the Mercer scandal was the talk of the country club. The story of the groom who erased his sister only for her to sell the house from under him became local legend. By the end of the month, Austin had gone from successful young man to that guy who lied to the Ashfords. Margaret Ashford didn't let it go either. She told her book club, if he lied about having a sister, imagine what he's hiding in the bank accounts. Gerald took it the worst. His golf buddies, men he'd spent decades trying to impress, started looking at him differently. One retired judge told him flat out over lunch, "You froze out your own daughter, Jerry. The one who actually took care of your son. That's cold, even for you." Gerald left before the appetizers arrived. Austin and Nicole moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. No yard. No string lights. No country club status. I heard Nicole stayed with him, but on one condition, total transparency. Every cent, every debt, every secret had to be on the table. People ask me about the money all the time. $770,000 is life-changing. But it didn't feel like a lottery win. Felt like a refund for 17 years of stolen peace. I paid off my student loans, the ones I had to take out because Gerald gave my college fund to Austin. That felt like closing a circle. Then I sat down with Patty and Russell and started the Linda Mercer Foundation. It's a scholarship and support fund for young women who lost their moms young and are trying to make it without a safety net. We cover the stuff people forget: rent deposits, licensing fees, the unseen costs of being on your own. I didn't name it after myself. I named it after the woman who saw 17 years into the future and made sure I had a godmother like Patty to protect me. With what was left, I bought a house. A small, cozy 2-bedroom with a porch and a kitchen that gets the morning sun. The deed is in my name. Only my name. The day I moved in, I unpacked one thing first, the photo of my mom. I put it right by the front door. "I bought a house for myself this time, Mom," I whispered. "It's been months now. I haven't written back to Austin and I haven't called Gerald. I'm not being petty, I'm just being protective of my peace. I spend my Thursday nights having dinner with my real family, Patty, Karen, Russell, and friends who actually know my name. No one at that table ever makes me prove I deserve to be there. I used to think family meant setting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm. I was wrong. A boundary isn't a wall meant to hurt people. It's a door, and you get to decide who is healthy enough to walk through it. I sold that house because I finally realized I was worth more than a guest room in someone else's lie. I'm 31, I'm successful, and for the first time in my life, I'm not just fine. I'm free. If you're the one always giving until you're empty, remember this. You don't need their permission to walk away. You were never too much. They were just offering too little. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had to choose between your family and your self-respect, tell me about it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.